You can't move the news to BBC Two, so you have to flip the sport to different channels. And then what happened on Monday, there was a key sort of Djokovic set that was in the air. They then had to switch it over for the news, only for BBC Two to actually be showing the end of an episode of EastEnders. So when the coverage did start, maybe about a minute and a half later, it sadly meant that actually people had seen the set and had moved on, and viewers hadn't had the chance to go and see it. So I can understand the frustration that viewers might be having.
Strawberries and cream at the ready. Wimbledon kicked off this week. For those who didn't manage to get a ticket or wake up at 4 a.m. to queue, the TV coverage does have to suffice. But even that has been presenting challenges. The BBC failed to televise crucial moments on the opening day, leaving viewers watching EastEnders credits instead. Let's talk to TV critic Scott Bryan. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, good.
Yep.
A bit of a change. I'm indoors this week, probably for the best.
Do you want to relive the great moment from last week? Can you bear to? Because this has gone viral. This has had over 2 million views on the socials. Should we just have a listen to what happened? You've got a Magnum there, which very unwisely, you started eating that before this interview slot started. So I would imagine that it's going to have lost its lovely, crunchy, icy self, isn't it?
It has somewhat, and also you would not believe. I mean, firstly, I've just checked myself. I think I'm showing up more red on the Zoom than I actually am.
Are you though? I'm sorry, but that's the foolish person who says at lunchtime, "I'm sure it'll go down in the afternoon." Well, it doesn't, does it? No.
But yes, trying to have a full Magnum whilst doing a 15-minute link is quite hard on radio. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Next time, try Calippo. Thank you. So that's what people want from us. That is the viral sensation from this programme last week. Where do we find you this week, Scott?
I mean, I'm back home. I would also say I'm still showing up quite red in the Zoom, but I would like to say that isn't sunburn.
Okay, I just don't believe you. Right, talk to us about what's happening with Wimbledon coverage now. This pulled me up short because I was trying to watch that Cinematch. I thought I'd got it wrong and I hadn't listened to the very clear instructions from Claire Balding about what I had to do to continue. But this is quite a thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, of course, the BBC is having to, at the moment, grapple not only having the World Cup on, which, of course, attracts millions of viewers, but also having Wimbledon, which has blanket coverage. And essentially, this is where it gets to be a little bit nerdy, but where else can I be more suited for? Essentially, they have to also show the normal bulletins, the 1 and the 6 and the 10 at around those times or around the football matches. You can't move the news to BBC Two, so you have to flip the sport to different channels. And then what happened on Monday, there was a key sort of Djokovic set that was in the air. They then had to switch it over for news, only for BBC Two to actually be showing the end of an episode of EastEnders. So when the coverage did start, maybe about a minute and a half later, it sadly meant that actually people had seen the set and had moved on, and viewers hadn't had the chance to go and see it. So I can understand the frustration that viewers might be having. I would say that there's sort of two things in this. I think firstly, you can watch it all uninterrupted on iPlayer, so you don't have to do the channel flicking as much as you would need to, because it can be really rather frustrating. And I think also, it is certainly trying to spin plates, but this is also a common thing. You might be wondering why Wimbledon isn't therefore just only on BBC Two, and it comes down to, I would say, ratings, because it's more likely to get more viewers on BBC One than on BBC Two.
No, see, keep moving. Yeah, I don't understand that anymore. I mean, is it really a thing that people think, oh, I'll kind of go to BBC One first all the time? BBC Two will lose out. I just would have thought our habits had changed.
I think they are changing, and I think this will probably be only a situation that will last a couple more years, and then they'll find a workaround. I mean, this also happened with the Winter Olympics, but actually they pretty much, for the Winter Olympics, which were, of course, in Europe this time round, made BBC Two a dedicated Olympics channel, and I think everyone wins out. Yes, BBC Two tends to get fewer ratings than BBC One, but, I mean, you only have to go and scroll through social media to see how many complaints the BBC's had in regards to them changing the channel the whole time.
Yeah. Tell us about Canada entering the Eurovision Song Contest next year. Is this getting a bit out of hand?
I mean, I would say arguably it probably went a bit out of hand when Australia signed up back in 2015. Australia joined Eurovision as a one-off to celebrate the then 50th anniversary of the contest and have been in it ever since. And then in the last hour or so, Canada are now going to be participating from Eurovision next year too. And Martin Green, who runs Eurovision currently, said on a podcast that if Canada win, they will be hosting it in their country. So potentially you could have Eurovision not in Europe at all. Now, the reasons why Canada can participate, I mean, it's quite complicated, but it comes down to the fact that Eurovision does not really need to include countries from within Europe. It actually goes much wider than that. And they are signed up members to the EBU, which is essentially a network of different broadcasters. But of course, for Eurovision recently, you know, some countries, the Netherlands, Iceland, Ireland, have pulled out because of Israel's inclusion in the contest. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for next year.
It's a bit messy, isn't it? Scott, for people who don't enjoy the plethora of sport available to them at the moment, what can you recommend to watch?
So I would say, this is a good opportunity to catch up with shows that maybe you've been meaning to but haven't got around to. I really loved, it was airing in January, Waiting for the Out, an adaptation of the acclaimed book. It's basically about a philosophy teacher who works within a prison. That was really good. I would also say for Derrigo, a series by Lisa McGee, the recent one, How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, also worth a watch on Netflix. Widow's Bay on Apple TV, probably my favourite show of the year so far. And if you're looking for a little bit of horror, there's also Cape Fear, which is a new adaptation, essentially turned into a TV series, also on Apple. Because by Saturday afternoon, there will be sport on every main British channel. I think BBC One and BBC Two have tennis, ITV has the rugby, Channel 4 Formula One, and Channel 5 have the cricket, all on at the same time. So if you don't like sport, heaven help you.
Right, well, you should be listening to Times Radio, shouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone described Widow's Bay to me as Stranger Things for grown-ups. Is it that?
I would say yes. I would also describe it as Parks and Recreation meets Twin Peaks. It's scary, edgy, suspenseful, but also incredibly funny. It manages to do two really hard things both at the same time really well.
Good recommendation. Scott, it's very lovely to see you. I'm glad you survived Margate. We will look forward to talking to you again next week. That is the TV critic to the stars. It's Scott Bryan.